Close your eyes. Let the world fade away. What if I told you that the secret to winning the lottery is not effort, not planning, not strategy, but silence? A silence so powerful that it commands reality itself. Right now, as you listen, wealth is already yours. There is no need to chase, to struggle, to seek. The more you try, the more it eludes you. But when you let go, when you simply accept that it is already done, reality bends to your will. Think of yourself as the winner, not tomorrow, not in some distant future, right now. How does it feel? Do not force it. Just allow it to rise naturally. The thrill of seeing your numbers match, the rush of knowing your life has changed forever, the deep, quiet certainty of financial freedom. This feeling, this is your winning ticket. Doubt may whisper, but how? Ignore it. The how is not your concern. The moment you accept wealth within, the world around you must rearrange to reflect it. Do not listen to those who tell you that luck is random, that wealth is earned through effort. You are not bound by statistics, nor by odds. You are bound only by your imagination. And right now, your imagination has already claimed your fortune. You do not need to lift a finger. Just listen, feel, know, and when you open your eyes, do not return to the old version of yourself. Walk as the winner you already are. The numbers, the ticket, the event, it is already aligned. And so it is. The world you experience is not separate from you. It is a mirror reflecting the state of your inner mind. Every event, every circumstance, every so-called chance occurrence is simply the unfolding of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. What you call reality is not something outside of you, not something fixed and immovable, but a projection of what you have accepted as true within yourself. If you desire wealth, you must first recognize where wealth truly exists. It is not in the numbers, the economy, or the actions of others. It is not in luck or effort or in anything outside of you. Wealth begins as a state of mind. If within you you believe yourself to be struggling, lacking, or waiting for fortune to smile upon you, then the world must conform to that belief. It cannot do otherwise. The external world is but an echo, and it has no choice but to reflect back to you the state in which you most consistently dwell. To change your experience, you must not fight against what appears to be. You must not look at an empty bank account, a pile of unpaid bills, or the seeming impossibility of winning and declare them to be real. The moment you do that, you are affirming their permanence, locking yourself into a reality where scarcity rules. Instead, you must turn inward and claim the wealth that is already yours. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to feel rich. Do not wait for evidence before you believe. It is your belief that creates the evidence, not the other way around. This is the great misunderstanding of the world. People look at what is and say this is reality, and so they remain trapped within it. But those who understand the truth know that what is seen is only the residue of past thoughts. If you wish to create something new, you must think from that new state, not toward it. Close your eyes and step into the feeling of abundance, not as a distant wish, not as something you are trying to achieve, but as something that already is. How would it feel to wake up tomorrow and know, beyond any doubt, that you are financially free, that money flows to you in ways you could never have predicted, that wealth is your natural state? Do not force the feeling. Allow it to come naturally. See yourself living in the home you desire, spending freely, giving generously, feeling the security and ease that comes with knowing that wealth is always available to you. The mind may resist. It will say, but I don't see it yet. How can I believe in something that isn't here? Ignore these protests. The mind has been trained to rely on the senses. But the senses only report the past. They cannot show you what is coming, only what has already been created by previous states of mind. If you wish to change your experience, you must move beyond the evidence of the senses and accept the unseen as real. There is no need to struggle, no need to force anything into being. The moment you accept your wealth within, the world begins to shift. It may not be immediate, but it is certain. Opportunities will present themselves. People, places, and events will conspire to bring you into alignment with the wealth you have already claimed in consciousness. You will not need to chase, beg, or hope. What is yours will come to you naturally, effortlessly. The only thing that can delay this is doubt. If you plant a seed and then dig it up every day to check if it is growing, it will never take root. You must trust the process. You must live in the knowing that it is already done. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself, my reality is only a reflection of what I hold within. I am already wealthy. As you persist in this state, the world must conform. The lottery ticket, the unexpected windfall, the business opportunity, the chance encounter, these are merely channels through which your wealth may flow, but they are not the source. The source is within you, and it has already declared you rich. There is a profound difference between wanting something and having it. Most people remain stuck in a state of wanting, hoping, and wishing, never realizing that these states only perpetuate lack. When you desire something intensely, but continue to see it as separate from you, you are unknowingly affirming that you do not yet have it. And as long as you remain in that state, the thing you seek will remain out of reach. True manifestation is not about wishing, it is about feeling. It is about moving beyond the idea of one day and stepping fully into the experience of already having. If you truly had what you desired, how would you feel? That is the question that unlocks everything. Most people fail because they focus on external effort rather than internal transformation. They chase after opportunities, strategies, and techniques, never understanding that their outer world can only reflect what they have accepted as true within. To win the lottery or to receive any form of wealth, you must first assume the feeling of being wealthy, not as a vague hope, not as a distant possibility, but as an undeniable reality. Imagine that right now, this very moment, you have already won. Feel the exhilaration, the relief, the certainty. Imagine checking your ticket and seeing the winning numbers match. Imagine the surge of emotions, perhaps shock at first, then overwhelming joy, then deep, peaceful satisfaction. Imagine telling those you love. Imagine the way your life changes instantly. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that financial worries are a thing of the past. Your mind may resist this exercise. It may say, but this isn't real, I haven't won yet. That doubt is the very thing keeping it from you. You must move beyond appearances and trust that the unseen is just as real, if not more real, than what your senses report. The world you experience is simply a delayed reflection of what you have already accepted in consciousness. If you wait for proof before believing, you will wait forever. But if you believe first, the proof must follow. The key is to feel as though it has already happened. Let go of the striving, the hoping, the longing. Those states only affirm that what you seek is missing. Instead, relax into the feeling of having. Breathe it in. Let it settle deep within you. Carry that feeling with you throughout the day. Walk as though you are already the person who has won. Speak with the confidence of one who knows their wealth is secure. Act as if your financial freedom is an unquestioned. Some may call this delusion, but it is not. It is the only true reality. What you hold in your consciousness will in time solidify into your experience. If you persist in feeling wealthy, wealth must appear. If you persist in feeling lack, lack must remain. The world has no choice but to mirror what you hold within. Doubt and fear will try to pull you back into the old mindset. They will whisper, what if it doesn't work? What if this is all nonsense? When those thoughts arise, do not engage with them. Simply return to the feeling. Remind yourself, it is already done. That feeling is the secret. It is the bridge between imagination and reality. When you fully embody the state of already having, external circumstances must align to make it so. The winning numbers, the right opportunity, the unexpected windfall, these are merely the channels through which your inner conviction manifests. They are not random. They are the inevitable outcome of your assumption. So stop waiting, stop hoping, step into the feeling of possession now, carry it with you, live from it, not toward it. And when you do, the world must obey. When you fixate on how something will manifest, you create a barrier between your desire and its realization. Your mind becomes entangled in the minutiae of planning and controlling the process, and in doing so it forgets the fundamental truth that the universe is far more powerful and intelligent than any human method or scheme. When you detach from the how, you allow the creative process to work its magic without interference. You open the door to a reality where outcomes are not determined by your limited understanding, but by an infinite source that operates in ways beyond your comprehension. By letting go of the need to control every step of the process, you free your mind from the confines of doubt and limitation. You no longer see the achievement of your desire as something that must be engineered through strict cause and effect, but as a natural unfolding of the potential already present within you. This state of surrender is not about giving up or resigning yourself to fate. Rather, it is about trusting that the mechanism which brings your desire into manifestation is already at work, aligning opportunities, people, and circumstances to create the outcome you envision. When you try to control how something will come to be, you inadvertently create resistance. This resistance is born from the belief that you must micromanage every aspect of your life to make your dreams a reality. But in doing so, you are asserting that the power to create your destiny lies solely in your hands. This mindset, while seemingly proactive, is actually a hindrance because it rejects the mysterious and transformative power of the subconscious. The universe has its own way of working, one that often defies conventional logic and linear thinking. When you interfere with that process by obsessing over the details, you disrupt the natural flow of manifestation. Imagine trying to force a river to flow in a specific pattern rather than allowing it to carve its own path. The river's journey is beautiful and powerful precisely because it follows the contours of the land, adapting to the terrain without resistance. Similarly, your desire to manifest wealth, success, or any other form of abundance will flow naturally if you relinquish the need to direct every step of its journey. The universe, or the deeper part of your own consciousness, is always working in your favor, arranging the elements in just the right way to bring your vision to life, even if the process seems mysterious or unpredictable to your logical mind. When you detach from the how, you embrace a state of effortless being. In this state, you focus solely on the end result, trusting that all the necessary details will be handled without your intervention. You no longer concern yourself with the logistics, the steps, or the timing, because you understand that these are mere instruments of a greater power that is always active in your life. This act of detachment is liberating. It allows you to move forward without the weight of expectation and the fear of failure. You begin to realize that the only thing that truly matters is the feeling of having achieved your desire, not the specific path taken to get there. Letting go of the how also cultivates an inner sense of peace and confidence. Instead of being caught in a cycle of worry and analysis, you become a receptive channel for inspiration and guidance. In this state, ideas flow freely and solutions present themselves in ways that you could never have devised on your own. It is a dynamic process where your trust in the unseen forces of creation transforms uncertainty into a wellspring of creativity. Ultimately, by releasing the need to control every detail, You empower yourself to experience the effortless unfolding of your dreams, making room for miracles that occur in the most unexpected and wondrous ways. Your subconscious mind is the key to everything you experience in life. It is the silent architect behind your reality, shaping your circumstances based on the beliefs, emotions, and assumptions you impress upon it. The most profound truth you must understand is that your subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. To it, all things are real the moment they are accepted as true. This is the foundation of all manifestation, and when you grasp it fully, you will understand why your thoughts and feelings are the true creators of your world. Most people live their lives reacting to what they see in the outer world, never realizing that the outer world is simply a reflection of their inner world. They look at their bank account, their job, their relationships, and assume that these things define their reality. But in truth, these are only the effects of past impressions that have been planted into the subconscious mind. If you want to change your life, you must stop focusing on the external and instead turn inward, deliberately planting new seeds of abundance, wealth, and success into your subconscious. The subconscious mind operates like fertile soil. It does not question what is planted in it. Whether you plant seeds of prosperity or seeds of lack, it will bring forth results in perfect accordance with what has been sown. If you constantly affirm that money is hard to come by, that success is out of reach, or that wealth is for others but not for you, your subconscious will accept those beliefs and make them your reality. On the other hand, if you impress upon it the certainty of your wealth, it will rearrange your life to reflect that truth. This is why imagination is so powerful. When you vividly imagine yourself as already being wealthy, already possessing all that you desire, your subconscious takes those impressions as facts. It does not argue, doubt, or rationalize. It simply accepts what you persistently tell it. If you persist in the feeling of already having wealth, the subconscious will work tirelessly to make it your experience. People, opportunities, and circumstances will shift in ways that seem almost magical, leading you to the fulfillment of your vision. The process of impressing the subconscious is simple, but it requires discipline. First, you must become deeply aware of the thoughts and beliefs you entertain on a daily basis. Are you constantly worrying about money? Are you affirming lack, even without realizing it? If so, you must replace those thoughts with new, empowering ones. Begin by speaking and thinking in alignment with the wealth you desire. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly." Instead of thinking, "I will be rich someday," think, "I am wealthy now." Your words and thoughts are the commands that program your subconscious mind. The most effective way to impress the subconscious is through the power of feeling. Thought alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by deep, genuine emotion. This is why simply repeating affirmations without truly feeling them will not create lasting change. You must generate the inner sensation of already having what you desire. How does it feel to be financially free? How does it feel to know that wealth is yours? Immerse yourself in that feeling as often as possible, especially before sleep, when your subconscious is most receptive. Many people unknowingly block their desires by allowing doubt and fear to creep in. They affirm wealth for a moment, but then immediately look for evidence in the outer world. If they don't see instant results, they revert to old patterns of doubt, undoing all their progress. The subconscious does not respond to fleeting thoughts. It responds to persistent belief. You must hold on to your assumption of wealth with unwavering confidence, knowing that what you have impressed upon your subconscious must materialize. Once you have successfully implanted the feeling of wealth into your subconscious, the outer world will begin to change. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen with absolute certainty. New opportunities will arise, unexpected sources of income will appear, and circumstances will shift in ways you never could have predicted. This is not coincidence. It is the law at work. The secret to a life of abundance is simple. Impress upon your subconscious the certainty of your wealth, and it will reflect that truth back to you. Do not concern yourself with how or when it will happen. Your only task is to remain faithful to the vision and the feeling of already having it. When you master this, your financial reality will transform effortlessly, as if by divine orchestration. Silence is the most powerful language of manifestation, for it is in stillness that creation takes place. Most people believe they must speak constantly about their desires, affirming them out loud, discussing them with others, or rationalizing how they will come to pass. Yet, the more you talk, analyze, and question, the more you delay the manifestation of your desires. True creation happens in the quiet acceptance of the wish fulfilled, not in the endless verbalization of hope or doubt. Every time you speak of lack, you reinforce it. Every time you say, "I don't have enough money, I am struggling," or "things never work out for me," you are sending a command to your subconscious mind, instructing it to maintain that very condition. Your words are an affirmation of your reality, and whether you realize it or not, every word spoken is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the unseen. When you constantly discuss your problems, you are unknowingly watering the weeds instead of nurturing the garden of your desires. The more you talk about what is missing, the more you cement its presence in your life. Silence, on the other hand, is a demonstration of faith. It is the quiet knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. It is the absence of questioning, the end of searching for signs, and the complete detachment from needing to convince yourself or others. When you remain silent, you signal to the universe and to yourself that there is nothing to debate. The moment you stop justifying your desires, stop seeking external validation, and stop explaining why you deserve something, you allow the unseen forces of creation to move freely and effortlessly on your behalf. Doubt and impatience are often disguised in speech. When you speak too much about what you desire, you are not affirming your belief in its reality, you are reaffirming your uncertainty. The one who truly knows does not need to convince anyone, not even themselves. The sun does not need to announce its rising, and a tree does not need to explain how it grows. It simply does. Likewise, your desire does not require effortful proclamation. It only requires a quiet, unwavering assumption of its existence. Stop trying to make it happen. The very act of trying implies struggle. If you try to manifest something, you are, in essence, declaring that you do not have it. Effort and struggle belong to the realm of the physical, but true creation happens in the unseen. It is an effortless process that unfolds naturally when you allow it. Just as a seed does not strain to grow into a tree, your desire does not require force to materialize. It only needs to be accepted as real within, and then it will take form without. This is the reason why many struggle with manifestation. They work hard, they affirm repeatedly, they look for signs, and yet nothing changes. This is because their very effort contradicts the law itself. The one who understands the nature of creation does not work for it. They rest in the feeling of its inevitability, knowing that it is already done. They do not speak about it. They do not ask when or how it will happen. They simply live as though it is already theirs. The greatest manifestations happen in silence. They come not from noise, not from endless affirmations, and not from desperate action, but from the quiet conviction that what is desired already exists. When you master this silence, this effortless acceptance, you will no longer chase after your dreams. Instead, they will come to you, naturally and effortlessly, as though they were always meant to be. There is an undeniable power in simply listening, absorbing, and letting go. In a world that teaches you to chase, strive, and struggle, this truth may seem too simple. Yet it is the very key to effortless manifestation. The moment you stop trying, stop forcing, and stop attempting to control the outcome, you open the door for what you desire to come to you effortlessly. Many believe they must constantly affirm, visualize, and repeat their desires over and over to bring them into reality. While these practices have their place, they are not what creates the manifestation. The true power lies in the state of knowing, the deep, quiet confidence that what you desire is already yours. And this state can only be accessed when you let go of effort. Listening is the first step. When you listen, you quiet the mind, allowing new ideas, beliefs, and possibilities to take root. If your mind is constantly filled with doubts, worries, and repetitive thoughts of lack, there is no room for the new reality to enter. But when you listen, truly listen, you open yourself to the truth that wealth, abundance, and success are already within you. You stop resisting and allow the knowledge of your abundance to settle into your consciousness. As you listen, absorb the feeling. The feeling is what makes it real. If someone were to tell you that you had already won the lottery and you truly believed them, how would you feel? Would you feel relieved, excited, or at peace? That feeling is the very bridge between where you are now and where you desire to be. It is the key that unlocks the manifestation. The problem most people face is that they are constantly thinking about their desire rather than living in the feeling of having it. They imagine what it would be like, but then immediately return to their current state of lack. To manifest effortlessly, you must absorb the feeling so completely that it becomes your natural state. Once you have listened and absorbed, the final step is to let go. Let go of needing to see proof. Let go of searching for signs. Let go of wondering when it will happen. The moment you release your grip on the outcome, wealth has no choice but to reveal itself to you. This is because you are no longer blocking it with resistance. When you try too hard, you are operating from a place of lack, subconsciously affirming that you do not yet have what you desire. But when you let go, you shift into a state of trust, allowing the universe to rearrange itself in perfect alignment with your assumption. This is why some people seem to attract money, success, and opportunities without effort. It is not because they are lucky or because they work harder than everyone else. It is because they do not resist. They have already accepted their wealth as reality even before they see it physically. They do not chase it because they do not believe it is separate from them. It is simply a part of who they are. The paradox of manifestation is that the more you try, the more it eludes you. The more you chase, the further it moves away. But the moment you stop running, stop grasping, and simply allow, it flows to you naturally. This is not passivity, it is mastery. It is the understanding that reality conforms to your state of being, and the only work required is to become the person who already has what they desire. To just listen, absorb the truth of your infinite abundance, let go of effort, and watch as wealth reveals itself to you in ways you never could have planned. In the end, manifestation is not about effort, struggle, or chasing after what you desire. It is about understanding that reality is shaped by your inner state. The moment you accept wealth as already yours, without doubt or resistance, it has no choice but to appear in your life. You do not need to figure out how it will happen, nor do you need to force it. Your only task is to listen, absorb, feel, and let go. Silence your doubts, stop speaking of lack, and rest in the certainty that what you have imagined is already unfolding. Trust in the unseen, and wealth will flow to you naturally, effortlessly, and in ways beyond your comprehension. The universe does not respond to effort, it responds to certainty. When you stop trying and simply know, the reality you seek will become undeniable. Thank you for listening, and may you step into the wealth and abundance that has always been yours. There comes a moment in every life when the external world looks fixed, when the doors appear closed and the mountain seems immovable. But I tell you, what you perceive as impossible is merely the boundary of your current assumption. And assumptions, no matter how deeply rooted, can be replaced. God, the creative power within you, is about to do what you thought could never be done. Not through struggle, not through force, but through a divine law that has always existed and is always working, the law of consciousness. You have been told to pray, to wait, to hope. But what if I told you that the thing you've been waiting for is already here, already yours, but hidden in the invisible realm of your imagination? For imagination is not a shadow or illusion. It is reality, unformed, waiting only for your belief to give it shape. The greatest mistake we make is believing that the facts around us are final. But facts are only echoes of former beliefs. They are not truth. They are not law. What you call impossible is simply a condition your senses cannot yet grasp. But that condition can shift instantly, the moment you dare to assume that your desire is already fulfilled. God works through assumption, not empty wishing but conscious embodiment. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to unite with the divine force that makes all things new. What you feel in your soul becomes what you live in the world. If you feel broken, dare to feel whole. If you feel poor, dare to feel rich. If you feel forgotten, dare to feel chosen. Not because the world confirms it yet, but because you know your inner world writes the script of your outer experience. Stop asking how. Stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for approval. That's not how divine power moves. It moves through the one who knows, who feels the end and walks in it, even the while the world insists it's not yet real. I say to you now, it is done. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, in the unseen. There is a shift taking place in your life, a door opening where there was only a wall, a healing where there was only pain, a way being made where there was no way. Because God does not bow to logic. God does not wait for permission. God responds to faith. The faith that moves from feeling, let them call it delusion, let them doubt you. That's not your business. Your business is to claim the promise. Your business is to know the truth before the evidence shows up. The impossible, it's already collapsing under the weight of your belief. So lift your head, speak boldly, walk differently, feel deeply, because God is about to do what they said couldn't be done. And when it happens, you won't even be surprised, because you saw it, you felt it, you knew. Imagination is not a fleeting fantasy or idle daydream. It is the divine spark, the very birthplace of all creation. Everything you have ever touched, seen, or experienced began first as a thought in the mind of someone who dared to believe in what was not yet visible. Before the house was built, the architect dreamed it. Before the song was sung, the melody was heard within. Before the journey was taken, the destination was imagined. This is not coincidence, it is law. What we call impossible is often just the boundary of someone's imagination. It's not a fact, but a belief. A wall that exists only in the mind. And that wall dissolves the moment you dare to imagine something beyond it. The moment you close your eyes and see differently, you begin to move the unseen forces that shape the visible world. Consciousness is the only reality. Your world is not a reflection of what you do, but of what you believe. And belief is made alive through imagination. When you imagine, you are not escaping reality, you are creating it. You are placing a seed into the soil of your inner world. And if you do not doubt it, that seed must grow. Most people use imagination against themselves. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They picture loss, lack, rejection, and pain. And what they fail to realize is that this misuse of imagination is still powerful. It still creates. It still moves. Because the power doesn't ask if you are imagining good or bad. It simply brings to life what you believe to be true. But the one who understands the gift of imagination begins to use it deliberately. They do not wait for the outer world to give permission to feel joy, love, wealth, or healing. They feel it now, inwardly, deeply. They imagine it so clearly that the body responds. Their emotions shift and the energy around them begins to transform. This is the beginning of miracles. When you imagine with intention, you enter into a sacred partnership with the divine. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but a conscious creator of experience. You move from reaction to creation, from fear to faith, from wishing to knowing. Nothing is withheld from the one who truly imagines, not because imagination changes the world, but because it changes you. It reshapes your assumptions, rewrites your identity, and aligns your vibration with that which you desire. And once you are aligned, the world must conform. There is no power out there that can block what is imagined in faith and felt in the heart. You may not know how, you may not see when, but when you persist in your inner vision, the outer must eventually bend. So do not underestimate the quiet power of closing your eyes and imagining something beautiful, something bold, something different from what is. That moment where you see it within is where the impossible begins to become real. What you assume to be true, though it may be invisible, improbable, or even irrational, begins to form the foundation of your reality. Assumption is not idle thought. It is not wishful thinking. It is a quiet conviction that something is, even if your senses say otherwise. And this assumption, once accepted, begins to shape everything around you. It becomes the silent blueprint from which your life unfolds. You walk, speak, and make decisions not based on what's happening, but based on what you believe to be true. And often this belief is unconscious. Many live in pain, limitation, and confusion because they assume, without questioning, that life is hard, that they are unworthy, or that nothing ever works out. These are not just thoughts. They are internal laws, constantly echoed back by the world outside. But here lies the great truth. You can choose what you assume. You can select the state of being you wish to occupy. And when you make a conscious assumption, such as, I am loved, I am successful, I am healed, you are not pretending. You are stepping into a deeper truth that already exists in the unseen. Everything you experience in life is a mirror, reflecting your inner assumptions. If you assume people will treat you with kindness, they often do. If you assume money will always be scarce, it seems to vanish. If you assume love is always painful, your relationships will reflect that pain. It's not magic, it's law. The outer is always shaped by the inner. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you believe. To assume something is to live as though it is already real. This is why assumption is so powerful. It bypasses the need for external proof. It does not ask for signs, evidence, or agreement. It simply is. And from this isness, a new reality begins to form. Even if your current situation contradicts your desired state, you do not argue with facts. You remain faithful to your assumption. You persist in the feeling that what you have imagined is already yours. And slowly, subtly, everything begins to shift. The people you meet, the opportunities that arise, the ideas that come to you, they all begin to align with the story you are telling yourself within. This is not about forcing or fixing. It's about dwelling in a state long enough for it to become natural. Once it feels normal to assume abundance, abundance appears. Once it feels true to assume peace, peace surrounds you. And once it feels inevitable that you are loved, love finds its way into every corner of your life. So the question is never, can this happen? The real question is, what am I assuming right now? Because that assumption, quiet, persistent, and deeply felt, is writing your future. Shift it, and everything changes. The world does not create you. Your assumption creates the world. When your desire seems distant and nothing in the physical world appears to be moving, the mind begins to doubt. You question whether the dream was real, whether the vision was divine, whether what you felt so deeply was just imagination. But you must understand, the delay is not denial, the silence is not absence, the stillness is not a sign of failure. It is often the greatest sign that something profound is unfolding beyond the reach of your senses. There is an order to spiritual creation. Everything begins in the unseen, gestates in stillness, and emerges when the conditions are right. Just as a seed planted beneath the soil grows in darkness before it pierces the earth, so too does your desire develop invisibly before it becomes tangible. You cannot rush the bloom, and you cannot always see the roots. But if the seed was planted in faith, it will grow. Impatience is the enemy of manifestation. It tempts you to dig up the seed too soon, to speak words of doubt, to return to your old assumptions. But the one who knows the truth remains calm in the delay. They do not demand signs. They do not beg or plead. They rest in the knowing that what has been conceived in spirit must be born in time. The moment you assume your desire is already yours, unseen forces are set into motion. Circumstances begin to rearrange. People are shifted. Doors you don't yet know exist begin to open. It may not look like anything is happening, but that is only because the process is hidden from view. Just as you cannot see electricity moving through a wire but feel its effects, you may not see the miracle forming, but you will feel it, if you remain still enough. Many give up too soon. They assume the delay means denial, when in fact it's divine timing at work. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Sometimes the delay exists not because the desire isn't yours, but because the version of you that can hold it fully is still being shaped. You are being stretched in the delay. You are being strengthened. Your faith is being refined, your focus purified, your soul made ready. And when it arrives, you will understand that it came at the perfect moment. Not too soon, not too late, but right on time. Do not judge your progress by what you see. What's real is what you know deep within. Hold to the vision. Stay in the assumption. Trust that the invisible hand is working, even when your eyes see nothing. You are not forgotten. You are not being ignored. You are being led. So when the silence comes, when the evidence disappears, when the wait feels long, do not despair. That is not the end. That is the sacred in-between where creation stirs. And if you can endure the stillness with faith, you will witness the fulfillment with joy. Because the delay is never denial. It is preparation for something greater than you imagined. There is a hidden key to transforming your life, and it is not effort, struggle, or constant action. It is feeling. Emotion is the silent language that speaks to the creative force within you. It is not what you say nor what you think, but what you feel that determines what you manifest. The moment you feel something as real, your inner world aligns with that reality, and the outer world begins to respond. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the force that turns a thought into experience. You can repeat affirmations all day long, but if they are spoken from a place of fear or lack, they will produce nothing. Yet one moment of deeply felt certainty, one inner experience of already being, doing, or having the thing you desire, this alone has the power to shift everything. This is why it is not enough to simply imagine. You must feel the scene. You must enter into the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell in it, not as a visitor, but as one who belongs there. When you feel something is already done, you no longer reach for it. You no longer beg or strive. You simply rest in the knowing that it is yours. Most people wait to feel successful until they have achieved something. They wait to feel loved until someone gives them affection. They wait to feel secure until the circumstances change. But the truth is reversed. It is the feeling first that brings the condition. You must feel rich to become rich. You must feel healthy to become healthy. You must feel love to attract love. This is not delusion, it is creation. Emotion carries vibration. When you feel deeply, you broadcast a signal into the unseen. That signal draws to you experiences, people, and opportunities that match your inner state. The universe is not responding to your words, it is responding to your energy. And energy is shaped by what you feel most often. This is why maintaining your emotional state is sacred work. If you allow fear, doubt, or frustration to dominate your feeling, your reality will reflect those states. But when you take command of your inner world, when you return again and again to the feeling of the desired outcome, you begin to live from the end. And when you live from the end must appear. Feeling is not about pretending or forcing, it is about gently stepping into the version of you that already has what you desire. How do they feel? How do they walk? How do they speak? And most importantly, how do they live when the thing they once longed for is now their reality? You are not waiting on the world is waiting on you. To feel it, to believe it, to embody it. Because once you feel it, creation is already set in motion. The feeling is the claim. The feeling is the door. The feeling is the secret. And once you understand this, nothing will ever be impossible again. Faith is not a fragile hope or blind optimism. It is a deeper knowing, a quiet certainty that does not require evidence or validation. It moves above what the eyes can see and the hands can touch. Faith overrides facts, not because facts are false, but because they are limited. Facts are bound by time, matter, and logic, but faith flows from the Spirit, and Spirit answers to a higher law, one that creates beyond reason, beyond proof, beyond what the world says is possible. What the world calls reality is simply a collection of past assumptions that have taken form. It is not fixed, it is not final. And it does not have the power to define your future unless you submit to it. The world will show you numbers, statistics, odds, and limitations. But faith looks at all of it and says, I do not accept this as truth. I know there is something greater unfolding. Faith does not deny the existence of facts. It simply refuses to bow to them. You can receive a diagnosis, face a financial crisis, or experience heartbreak and still declare, this is not the end. This is not my truth. This is not the law that governs me. Because the spiritual realm is not constrained by appearances. It creates from imagination, from belief, from the unseen substance of conviction. When you live by faith, you stop reacting and start creating. You no longer wait for conditions to improve before you change your inner state. You change your state first, knowing the outer will eventually follow. This is the reversal the world cannot understand. It expects you to adjust your faith according to the facts. But real transformation comes when you adjust the facts according to your faith. Faith is the power that defies logic. It is what makes the impossible unfold, not through effort, but through alignment. The world says you're too late, but faith says now is the perfect time. The world says you don't have enough, but faith says all I need is already within me. The world says you'll never overcome this, but faith whispers, this mountain will move the moment I no longer believe it is there. It is not arrogant to stand in faith. It is divine. You are not challenging the world, you are reclaiming your authority as a spiritual being who knows that truth is not defined by outer evidence. The facts may say you are broken, but faith knows you are whole. The facts may say you are stuck, but faith sees the way already made. The facts may say the door is closed, but faith turns the knob and walks through it anyway. To live by faith is to live free. Free from fear, from doubt, from limitation. It is not an escape, it is the highest form of mastery. For when faith becomes your foundation, no fact can shake you, no delay can break you, and no voice of the world can drown out the truth that lives within you. Faith is not the denial of reality, it is the power that changes it. To live as if it's already done is not a trick of the mind or a surface level performance. It is the deepest expression of belief. When you embody the end, you align your entire being with the reality you seek to experience. You are no longer asking, wishing, or waiting. You are living from the truth that what you have desired is already yours, in the unseen, and now you simply match it in the physical. This is the secret of creation. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And what you are is revealed in how you think, speak, walk, and feel. If you seek abundance, you must stop approaching life from lack. If you desire love, you must cease acting out of fear or neediness. If you want healing, you must no longer speak the language of sickness. You must become in every way the person who already lives in that fulfilled state. Living from the end means you no longer measure your faith by what the senses tell you. The senses may say nothing has changed. The facts may scream that your situation is still the same. But your inner world, the true place of creation, has already shifted. And because it has shifted within, it must express itself without. There is no other outcome possible. You must walk differently, not with arrogance, but with certainty. You carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that life is responding to them, not happening to them. You do not plead for change, you assume it has occurred. You do not chase after results, you embody them now. And that embodiment changes everything. Your speech begins to reflect your new state. You no longer talk about someday, if only, or hopefully. Instead, you speak as one who has already received. Gratitude replaces desperation. Praise takes the place of complaining. Your words begin to affirm the unseen as if it were already seen, because in truth it is. Your choices begin to shift too. You start making decisions as the person who already has what you once only desired. If you were already successful, what would you do today? If you were already in love, how would you treat yourself? If the miracle had already occurred, how would you move through this moment? These are not fantasies. They are spiritual practices. They bring the end into the now. And here lies the key. You are not pretending. You are not faking it. You are accessing a deeper reality that already exists. The moment you imagine the end and feel it as real, you create it in consciousness. By living from that end, you pull it into form. This is not about control, it's about alignment. When your inner state aligns with your desire, life has no choice but to respond. It's not magic, it's law. So stop waiting. Stop asking for signs. Start being. Start walking as if it's already done, because in the realm of spirit, it already is. You were never meant to chase after miracles. You were born to embody them. What the world calls impossible is not a limit, but an invitation to rise into a deeper truth. The power to change your life does not lie outside of you. It begins in your imagination, is activated by your assumption, nurtured through your feelings, and sustained by unwavering faith. Even in silence, even in delay, the forces of the unseen are moving for you. When you live as if it is already done, you no longer wait, you align. You no longer beg, you become. And from that state, life has no choice but to respond. So dare to believe, dare to feel, dare to walk in the unseen, because what you thought could never happen is already unfolding. Thank you for listening. May this message awaken the power within you, remind you of who you truly are, and lead you to live boldly, as if it's already done. There is a sacred law behind your hardship. The deeper the night, the closer the dawn. The greater your struggle, the greater your soul is preparing to rise. What you are facing is not a mistake. It is an invitation. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you and for you. The pressure you feel is not breaking you, it is making you. Everything you call a struggle is simply life showing you what you still believe about yourself. It's showing you where you have assumed weakness, where you have accepted limitation, where you have not yet claimed your divine power. The struggle only exists because you have not yet imagined yourself beyond it. The moment you assume it is finished, the moment you dwell in the state of freedom, the path begins to open. You see, reality bends to your inner acceptance, not to your effort, not to your force, but to your inner assumption. If you walk around believing your struggle defines you, you create a loop of delay. But the moment you rise and assume the end, you command reality to reorganize. And it does. There is no mountain you must climb, no problem you must solve. There is only a version of you that already exists, free, whole, fulfilled. And you must align with that version now. Close your eyes. Feel the end, not the process, not the question, not the waiting, just the end. Feel what it's like to have the thing you've cried for. Feel what it's like to know it's yours. Breathe there. Live there. And when you open your eyes, walk like it's done. You may still see shadows of struggle. Don't be fooled. That's just the echo of your old state. You have shifted. Reality is catching up. Let the pain be the proof that something bigger is coming. Let the resistance remind you how powerful you truly are. Don't curse the struggle. Bless it. It's lifting you. Because the truth is simple. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the breakthrough. And the breakthrough is already yours. Struggles are not punishments. They are sacred preparations. Life is not withholding from you. It is readying you. Every hardship you endure, every obstacle that rises in your path, every moment where it feels like everything is against you, it is all part of a deeper unfolding. The magnitude of your struggle is not a sign of failure or disfavor, but a divine measurement of the blessing that is forming behind the veil. You are not being abandoned. You are being expanded. When something extraordinary is coming, it requires a vessel strong enough, wide enough, deep enough to carry it. And you, in your current form, may not yet be ready to hold what you have asked for. So life begins to shape you. It bends you. It tests your foundation. The weight you feel pressing against you is not there to crush you, but to stretch you. To stretch your faith, your patience, your vision, your endurance. Is asking, can you hold more than you've ever held before? And that's what struggle really is. It's the invisible hands of transformation molding you into someone greater, into someone who no longer reacts with fear but responds with clarity, someone who no longer doubts their worth but walks with unshakable inner knowing, someone who no longer looks for evidence outside but feels the truth of it within. Most people misread struggle as punishment. They say, why me? Why now? What did I do wrong? But that is the illusion. You did not do something wrong, you did something right. You dared to dream, you dared to ask for more, you dared to believe there's something beyond the life you've been living, and because of that, life is responding. The storm isn't a rejection, it's a recalibration. The chaos isn't confusion, it's construction. You are not the victim of your external conditions. You are the creator of a new internal state. As you hold a new self-concept, a new belief, a new vision, your reality begins to shift in response. But before it can bloom, the old must be dismantled. And that dismantling doesn't always feel pretty. It feels like loss. It feels like fear. It feels like things falling apart. But remember, what feels like falling apart is often just a higher order coming together. When you feel like everything is being stripped from you, understand this. You are not being punished. You are being prepared to hold something far greater than you could have imagined. The vessel of your life is being expanded to hold a deeper peace, a bigger love, a higher abundance. So don't curse your struggle. Don't run from it. Don't resent it. Honor it. Walk through it with your head high. Let it do its holy work in you. For what awaits on the other side is not just a blessing. It is the version of you who is always meant to receive it. You are not meant to run from the storm. You are not here to escape the difficulty, to find a way around it, or to wait for it to pass so you can breathe again. You are meant to go through it, not as a victim, but as a creator discovering their strength. The purpose of the storm is not to harm you, but to awaken you. It is not your enemy, it is your teacher. So many spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort, trying to shield themselves from the messiness of transformation. But the truth is, transformation is rarely gentle. It arrives like a wind that overturns everything that is small, false, or fragile within you. The storm comes to strip away what you no longer need, the outdated beliefs, the borrowed identities, the illusions you've carried for far too long. And in the middle of that chaos, something holy begins to emerge. A deeper part of you wakes up, a part of you that does not collapse under pressure, but rises because of it. You stop trying to change the outer world and instead shift your inner state. You no longer beg for peace. You become it. You become the calm in the eye of the storm. This is the secret the world forgets. You are not meant to fight the storm. You are meant to still it by transforming yourself. You do not escape the pain by denying it. You transmute it by allowing it to show you where your power has been hidden. Every challenge, every dark night, every betrayal or setback is coded with the opportunity to remember who you truly are. The storm you are facing is not a sign that you are weak. It is the very evidence that you are ready to rise. It only feels unbearable because it is calling you to shed the layers of who you are not. It is calling you to remember that you are not your circumstances, not your mistakes, not your emotions. You are the observer, the chooser, the imaginer. You are the stillness beneath the waves, the light that never flickers, the essence that remains even when everything else falls away. So when the storm rages, don't run. Sit in the center of it and breathe. Let the winds tear away your doubt. Let the rain wash away your fear. Let the thunder echo the truth that was always within you, that you are unshakable when you choose to be, that your peace is not tied to conditions, but to the state you dwell in. You don't climb out of the storm by resisting it. You rise through it by becoming the presence that transforms it. You become the calm, not by waiting for everything to settle, but by choosing that stillness in the middle of it all. And when you do, you don't just survive the storm, you transcend it. And what once threatened to break you becomes the very thing that reveals your power. Pain is not the enemy, resistance is. When you fight what you feel, you become trapped by it. But when you fully allow yourself to feel, without judgment, without fear, without rushing to escape, You step into the secret doorway of transformation. The struggle is not something to overcome by force. It is something to pass through with feeling. And that feeling, when aligned with your desired end, becomes the key that unlocks a new reality. Most people resist pain because they believe it shouldn't be there. They see discomfort as a problem to fix, a signal that something is wrong. But what if pain was not wrong? What if it was a necessary fire, burning away everything that no longer serves your highest vision? What if feeling the pain fully was the very act that alchemizes it into power? You see, the path through struggle is not numbness. It is not denial. It is presence. When you bring your full awareness to the pain, when you meet it with love instead of resistance, it begins to shift. It no longer controls you. It becomes energy in motion. And in that motion, you can redirect it. This is where the secret lies. In the middle of the storm, you do not need to fix the outer world. You need only to feel the inner world differently. When you close your eyes, breathe deeply and assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Even while everything around you screams otherwise, you are stepping out of the known and into the creative. Struggle exists when your current state contradicts your inner desire. But when you feel from the desire already fulfilled, you collapse that contradiction. You bring the two into harmony. And that harmony creates movement. Movement not just inside, but outside. Life begins to mirror what you hold in consciousness, not what you beg for or stress over. You must stop asking, when will it end, and begin asking, what would I feel like if it were already done? That is the feeling that ends the struggle. That is the inner alignment that gives birth to the breakthrough. And this is not about pretending. It is about knowing. It is about touching the feeling so deeply that it becomes more real than your current circumstances. You carry the emotion of peace even when chaos surrounds you. You hold the vibration of abundance even when the bank account says lack. You feel loved even when you are alone. That kind of feeling is not fantasy. It is faith in action. It is the choice to live from the truth that all creation begins within. You do not feel after the change. You feel before it. And that feeling makes it inevitable. So when the pain arises, let it come. Do not run. Let it teach you. Let it burn through the layers of fear. And then, within that space of openness, fill it with the feeling of what you've been praying for. Dwell there, live there, and soon the struggle will dissolve. Not because you forced it to, but because you no longer needed it to stay. The struggle you feel is not born from the world around you. It's born from what you have accepted within you. You are not fighting against people, conditions, or events. You are wrestling with your own assumptions, and those assumptions are shaping everything you see, feel, and experience. The outer world is not the source of your suffering. It is the mirror of your state. Every day you walk through a reality constructed by your inner beliefs. If you assume limitation, life gives you limits. If you assume rejection, you meet it in every interaction. If you assume delay, your desires seem to drift further out of reach. But the moment you change the assumption, the moment you decide something else is true, the struggle begins to dissolve. It's not the facts that bind you, it's your agreement with them. Most people are not aware they are assuming anything. They think they are just facing reality, but what is reality really? It is only a reflection of what has been accepted as true on the inside. It is the echo of yesterday's beliefs. And when you believe in struggle, when you assume that breakthrough is hard, that change takes time, that success is for someone else, Life reflects that back to you perfectly. You must realize that your assumptions are not passive, they are creative, they are alive. They are the seeds from which your world grows. If you assume lack, it multiplies. If you assume abundance, it begins to show up in ways you never expected. The change begins not when things shift outwardly, but when you shift inwardly and hold firm to a new assumption, one that aligns with your highest vision. The struggle ends the moment you refuse to believe in it. You don't have to fight it. You simply have to assume something else is already true. The version of you who has already overcome it doesn't struggle. They don't worry. They don't wonder if it will happen. They rest in the certainty that it is done. When you rise in consciousness and say, I no longer accept this as my truth, you initiate a quiet revolution within. That inner shift sends out ripples that reorganize everything around you. You do not have to figure out how it changes. You only have to remain loyal to the new assumption. This is not about pretending or positive thinking. It is about spiritual law. As you assume, so shall it be. Hold to the assumption that you are already healed, already whole, already chosen, already blessed. And life must conform. The moment you wake up to this truth, the struggle begins to collapse like a dream when you open your eyes. You realize it was never the world that held you back, it was the story you kept repeating to yourself. Change the story, change the assumption, and the struggle will vanish like mist in the morning light. Delay is not denial, it is divine orchestration. What seems like a pause, a blockage, or a detour is often the most sacred part of the journey. It is not a punishment or a rejection, it is timing in its highest form. There is a rhythm to your life, a spiritual clock that does not operate on your impatience, but on alignment, readiness, and transformation. When you ask for something, deeply, sincerely, life begins to shift. But what you often don't realize is that the answer isn't always immediate, because you are not always ready to receive it in full. And that's not a flaw in you, it's part of the process. You're becoming the version of yourself who can not only receive the blessing, but hold it, grow it, and carry the responsibility it brings. The delay is not empty. It's not a waiting room where nothing happens. It is the pressure of spiritual energy, building and aligning everything within and around you. That tension you feel, the restlessness, the doubt, the longing, is not a sign that it's not coming. It's a sign that it's near. You're being stretched, expanded, prepared. The ground beneath your feet is being strengthened for something bigger than you asked for. We often beg for speed, thinking fast is better, but the truth is, what comes too soon can collapse just as quickly. You may want the breakthrough, but life wants you to be anchored first. Because real manifestation isn't about the moment of arrival. It's about becoming the person who lives in that new reality without fear of losing it. You must shift from chasing outcomes to cultivating states. Ask yourself, am I becoming the one who would naturally live the life I desire? That is the real work. Not forcing change outwardly, but transforming inwardly. Delay is where this alchemy happens. The longer it takes, the more powerful it becomes, because you are growing into someone greater than you once imagined. Spiritual timing is precise. It is never early, it is never late. It is aligned with your becoming. And that means every moment of delay is not time wasted. It is evidence that something sacred is underway. You are not being denied, you are being developed. So stop looking outward for confirmation. Walk inward, strengthen your inner state, deepen your trust, anchor your identity in the end result, not in the current delay. Say to yourself, it is already done. I may not see it, but I know it. That knowing is what dissolves the illusion of delay. That knowing is what activates alignment. Alignment. Delay is only painful when you doubt its purpose. But when you trust it, you begin to see the hidden genius in the timing. You begin to feel grateful even in the waiting, because you know, deep down, that the longer it takes, the greater it will be. And when it arrives, it won't just meet your expectations, it will exceed them. Because you didn't settle. You aligned, you expanded, you trusted. And now the blessing is shaped not only for you, but by you. Breakthrough is not something that arrives from the outside, it is something that unfolds from within. And the paradox is this: the moment you stop desperately needing a breakthrough is the very moment it begins to appear. When you release the grasping, the craving, the pleading for things to shift, you enter into a space of true power. You are no longer driven by fear of lack. You are anchored in the knowing that what you seek is already yours. You see, many people live in a constant state of hoping, waiting, and striving. They chase outcomes, force timing, and beg the universe for change. But that very posture of lack, of desperation, of needing, is the thing that keeps the breakthrough at bay. Because needing implies you don't yet have. It affirms separation. It says, I am not yet the one who receives. And the world reflects that assumption perfectly. But when you drop the need and enter the state of fulfillment, everything shifts. You stop looking for signs because you already feel the truth. You stop measuring time because you are living from the end. You stop controlling the outer because you have mastered the inner. That is where breakthrough begins. Not in force, but in surrender. Not in chasing, but in being. The real breakthrough is you. It's the shift in consciousness, the internal alignment with the version of yourself that already has the thing you once longed for. You no longer need it to arrive, because you know it already exists in the unseen. You have assumed the identity of the one who has it, and that assumption moves mountains. Reality is obedient. It does not respond to begging. It responds to belief. When you walk as if it is already done, when you speak, think, and feel from that state, you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. There is no delay when there is no doubt. This is not about giving up. It is about letting go of attachment. It is about stepping into a deeper trust, one that says, I no longer need proof. My feeling is the proof. My inner knowing is enough. That level of certainty magnetizes results. It draws them in not because you need them, but because you are already aligned with them. The moment you stop needing the breakthrough, you reveal your power. You stop being a seeker and you become a creator. You realize the outer world is a mirror, not a master. And as you change, it must follow. The breakthrough doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. It is born the instant you shift from waiting to knowing, from striving to being. Let that be your turning point. Don't chase what is already yours. Don't plead with what is already promised. Instead, stand still, close your eyes, and feel the joy of it fulfilled. Dwell there. Live from there. That's where the real breakthrough lives. And once you embody that state, the outer has no choice but to respond. The struggle you face is not a sign that you're failing. It's the evidence that something greater is unfolding through you. Each delay, each challenge, each moment of tension is preparing you, not punishing you. You are not here to escape the storm, but to become the calm within it. The breakthrough you seek is not out there waiting to arrive. It's already alive within you, waiting for your recognition. When you shift your assumptions, feel your desires as already fulfilled, and let go of the need for proof, the world must bend to match your inner state. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the breakthrough. Not because life is testing you, but because you are expanding to receive more than you imagined. The moment you stop chasing and start embodying, the breakthrough is no longer a possibility, it becomes inevitable. Sincere thanks. Thank you for listening with an open heart and a willing spirit. May these words awaken the strength, the peace, and the power that already live within you. Keep rising, keep trusting. The breakthrough is already yours. There is a sacred truth that too many forget when they are in pain, in waiting, or in silence. God is not done. What you're walking through today is not a sign of an ending. It is a signal, a sacred whisper, that the greatest part of your story has yet to unfold. Life may look still, the world around you may seem quiet, but in the invisible everything is shifting. There are unseen hands working on your behalf. What you call delay is only preparation. Let me tell you something that may shock you. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. Waiting on you to believe again, to imagine again, to speak life over yourself even when everything feels lifeless. The greatest miracles do not come when you beg. They come when you believe. Not halfway, not conditionally, but completely, as though what you asked for is already here. You say, I've been broken, but have you forgotten? Every breakdown is the seed of your breakthrough. You say, I feel lost, yet you are never lost in the eyes of the divine. You are simply being rerouted to a higher outcome. There is something extraordinary waiting on the other side of your persistence. But it cannot come through struggle, it comes through alignment. Stop speaking the language of limitation. Start speaking from the end. Say to yourself, this chapter is not the end. This pain is not the whole story. Something sacred is coming. Something unstoppable is being written in my name. The best part of your story is not in your past. It is not in what you lost. It is not in what was taken. It is in what you are about to receive. And what you are about to receive will not make sense to the version of you that almost gave up. That version must die, so the real you can rise. The version who begs must become the version who embodies. The version who doubts must become the version who declares. The version who fears must become the version who knows. Because when you know, truly know, that the best is next, you stop chasing and start claiming. Walk as if the door is already open. Speak as if the promise is already fulfilled. Rest as if you've already arrived. And you will find that God never forgot you. He was simply preparing a scene so good, so divine, so unmistakably perfect that only the future you would be ready for it. So let this be your declaration. God's not done with me. My story is still unfolding. And the next part, the part I'm stepping into, will be the best I've ever lived. Because you are not falling apart. You are being put together for something higher. And the best part, you don't even have to chase it. You just have to become it. God's not done. The next chapter will prove why the wait was worth it. Do not judge your life by what you see today. The visible world, this tangible realm, is not the full truth. It is simply a mirror, reflecting old beliefs, former assumptions, and previous inner conversations. What you see now is not a prophecy, it is history. It is the echo of your former state of mind, a shadow of what you once believed to be true. And so, if your current reality appears dark, stagnant, or full of lack, do not panic. Do not mourn what is showing up now. Because this is not the conclusion, this is not the ending of your story, it is merely a transitional scene between who you were and who you are becoming. You must understand, life flows from within out. Circumstances arise out of consciousness. When you believed in lack, lack appeared. When you felt abandoned, abandonment showed up. But that was then. And now, you have chosen differently. You are beginning to assume the state of fulfillment. You are starting to walk in the awareness of abundance, wholeness, and purpose. And as surely as day follows night, what you have assumed within must now appear without. But here's the part most overlooked. There is always a delay between planting and harvest. There is a secret space between assumption and appearance. That delay is not denial, it is divine orchestration. It is the universe reassembling itself to reflect your new state of being. So if things still look the same, be still. Stay grounded. Hold your new assumption with faith and persistence. Because what's unfolding right now is not the final act. It's the middle scene. A bridge of events that will lead you from what was to what you have accepted as already yours. Do not make the mistake of judging the journey before the promise is delivered. A construction site always looks chaotic before the masterpiece is revealed. And so does life when transformation is underway. Hold fast, speak from the end, imagine from the outcome, live as if it's done. Because your current circumstance is not your conclusion, it is not your label, it is not your truth. It is only the temporary residue of the past. And once you stop reacting to it and start living from your new assumption, everything will change quietly, powerfully, completely. Creation does not begin with effort, it begins with imagination. Pure, bold, unquestioning vision. Long before anything materializes in the world of form, it is born in the unseen. The real beginning of all things is not in action, but in the invisible world of thought and belief. That is the realm where all power rests. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is the divine blueprint, the invisible seed from which your future grows. When you dare to imagine something greater, something beyond your current reality, you are not escaping life, you are rewriting it. You are stepping into the spiritual workshop where all things are crafted before they become visible. The moment you believe in the unseen, truly believe, not with words but with feeling, the universe responds. It begins to rearrange circumstances, shift relationships, open doors, close others, and guide events in ways your physical senses cannot yet comprehend. You do not need to push, chase, or strive. You only need to see, not with your eyes but with your inner vision, the eye of faith. God does not respond to desperation, He responds to alignment. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, and imagination is how that evidence is formed. The world around you bends not to effort, but to assumption. The secret is not in doing more, it's in assuming more boldly. When you dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you close your eyes and live from the end, something miraculous happens. What you see in the spirit begins to take shape in the world. The external world, being only a shadow, must conform to the light within. It has no choice. God's next move is not waiting for your work. It's waiting for your belief. He moves where your faith leads. And faith is simply sustained imagination, dwelling so deeply in your vision that it becomes more real to you than what your senses report. If you want to know what is coming next in your life, look to your imagination. That is the preview of your next chapter. Guard it, feed it, honor it. Because what you imagine with conviction, you invite with power. What you believe in the silence, God brings into the light. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. We often speak of divine timing as if it were some distant clock slowly ticking toward our breakthrough. But divine timing is not measured in hours or days, it is measured in alignment. The moment your inner state matches the reality you desire, things move quickly, naturally, powerfully. You see, the delay you perceive is not in God's hands. It is in your own heart. God has already said yes to the version of you that is whole, abundant, healed, and fulfilled. But if you continue to identify as broken, lacking, or unworthy, you remain out of sync with what has already been prepared. Life doesn't bring you what you beg for. It brings you what you believe yourself to be. When you shift your self-concept, everything shifts. You are not waiting for a new reality to appear. You are waiting to become the person who lives in it. That transformation does not take time. It takes decision. It takes the courage to let go of the old story and embody the new one fully, without apology or hesitation. God responds to movement, not outer movement, but inner conviction. When you dare to feel the truth of your desire as if it were already fulfilled, you step into alignment. And in that state, doors open, paths appear, and what you once called coincidence becomes divine choreography. This is why you must stop looking to the sky for a sign and start looking within. The answer isn't coming, it's already here, but you must be in the state to receive it. Waiting is a posture of passivity. Alignment is a posture of power. When you walk in the knowing that it is done, the world rearranges itself to reflect that knowing. Do not ask, when will it happen? Ask instead, am I being the version of me who already has it? Because when you answer yes to that question, not with words, but with identity, you move into harmony with divine timing. And then suddenly everything accelerates. So remember this. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not forgotten. You're simply being invited to become, and the moment you do, the next and best part of your story begins to unfold. Effortlessly, gracefully, and right on time. The best part of your life isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It already exists. Right now, in the invisible realm of consciousness, everything you desire has already been created. You are not manifesting something brand new. You are choosing from what already is. The moment you grasp this, life changes. Because you realize you're not building your future with effort, you're aligning with it through belief. There is only one moment now, and within this eternal now, every version of your life exists. The life where you're whole, abundant, deeply loved, successful. It is not a fantasy or a wish. It is a reality, already formed, simply awaiting your recognition. You do not create it by striving. You bring it into your experience by selecting it through your state of being. What you call the future is simply the unfolding of the state you are dwelling in today. If you continue to live from lack, worry, or doubt, you remain aligned with a version of reality that reflects those states. But when you dare to assume that it's already done, that what you desire is already yours, you shift timelines. You move into alignment with a version of life where it has already happened. This is why faith is so powerful. Not because it changes God's mind, but because it changes your position. It places you in harmony with what has always been available to you. You begin to see what you previously could not, simply because you believe it's there. And the moment you live as though it were true, the invisible becomes visible. You don't need proof to begin, you need conviction. Because the world doesn't show you what's real, it shows you what you've accepted as real. The outer world is always catching up to your inner world. So if you want to see a different outcome, start by choosing a different assumption. Walk, talk, and feel as if the best part of your story has already unfolded. Let go of the waiting. Let go of the hoping. Step into knowing. because your future is not coming from the outside. It is already alive in the unseen, and it will rush into form the moment you agree with it in spirit. The best part of your life is already here, and it's yours the moment you dare to live from it. Every breakdown you've experienced wasn't the end. It was the beginning. What felt like collapse was actually construction in disguise. When the walls fell, when the doors closed, when people left, it wasn't destruction, it was alignment. Life was removing what no longer fit. Where you going? And though you may have called it loss, heaven called it preparation. Nothing is ever truly lost. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, none of it was meant to break you. It was meant to break open the parts of you still clinging to the lesser when the greater was already written. God never subtracts without the intention to multiply. He never removes without the plan to replace with something more suited, more divine, more expansive. You see, the mind grieves what it can no longer see, but the spirit rejoices in what it knows is coming. When something leaves your life, instead of mourning it as the end, recognize it as a sacred clearing. Just as a farmer must till the ground and remove the weeds before planting fresh seed, so too must your life be cleared of old energies, attachments, and patterns that cannot carry the weight of your next blessing. Evil breakdown was a setup for breakthrough, not by accident but by divine orchestration. The moments that hurt the most often held the greatest lessons and the deepest transformation. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. Life was rearranging itself to make room for the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. So trust the tearing down, trust the release, trust the silence, the space, the unanswered prayers. They are not signs of abandonment, but signs of deeper preparation. The blessing that's meant for you is too big to fit in the old container. The new wine must be poured into new wineskins. The new life must rest upon a new foundation. You didn't lose. You were lifted. You weren't left behind. You were led forward. And what's ahead of you is not compensation. It's elevation. What's coming next will not only heal what broke you, but show you why it had to happen. So hold your head high. The breakdown was not your defeat. It was the prelude to your divine breakthrough. You are not just playing a role in your life, you are writing the script with every thought you accept, every word you speak, and every emotion you dwell in. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. And while others may appear on your stage, no one else is holding the pen. You are both the author and the actor, creating the scenes that unfold before you. If you don't like the way the story is going, don't wait for someone to change the plot. Change the narrator within. It's your inner dialogue, the words you repeat to yourself in silence, that determines the direction of your life. Every belief you hold becomes a line in your script. Every assumption you make becomes a scene played out in time. Too many people try to change their life without changing the story they're telling themselves. They chase new results while carrying the same old narrative. But it doesn't work that way. You cannot live a victorious life with a defeated mindset. You cannot step into a better chapter if you're still reciting lines from your past. The moment you begin to say the best is next with conviction, not as a wish but as a fact, you start turning the page. You start creating new chapters where possibility replaces limitation, where faith replaces fear, and where clarity replaces confusion. Your words are not just expressions, they are instructions to the universe, to your subconscious, and to the unseen forces that shape your world. Every great transformation begins with a change in dialogue. Speak differently, think differently, feel differently. Because when you assume the role of someone whose best days are ahead, you activate the script that matches that state. You become the person who naturally attracts experiences that align with a better story. You are not a victim of the narrative, you are the one telling it. And just like any great author, you have the power to revise, reframe, and rewrite at any moment. The old chapter may be filled with pain, but it does not define the ending. The pen is still in your hand. So write boldly, act courageously, and never forget, you are the story, the storyteller, and the stage upon which the next miracle will unfold. So, if life feels uncertain, if the road seems unclear, remember this: God is not done. What you see today is not the end, it's the unfolding. Your current reality is not your final destination. It is only a reflection of yesterday's thoughts. But today you have the power to choose again, to imagine again. You are not waiting on permission, on timing, or on people. You are aligning with the truth that the best part of your story is not behind you, it's ahead of you, already existing in the invisible, waiting for you to become the version of yourself that receives it. Hold your vision, speak your new script, trust your unseen future, and walk in the quiet, unshakable knowing that every breakdown, every delay, and every detour was preparing you for what's next. Because what's next is better than what's been. Your best is not coming. Your best is here, because now you are ready for it. Thank you for listening. Keep believing, keep becoming, and never forget, the best part of your story is next.